Good evening, this is K4PW. K4PW net control for the Mount Juliet Simplex Radio Net. Hold on one second. Get caught me again unawares here. Here we go. No emergency traffic, I'm sure. No one was on the air. If there is emergency traffic, call 911. You can call us if you choose, but 911 is the best answer. We'll help you if you can. You may break into the net at any time for that. You can see us right now. At least you can see the screen on my analog signal strength meter and on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, put in K4PEW, Kilo 4 Papa Echo Whiskey, in the search block, and you'll see that screen come up, and click on it, and you'll be able to listen to other stations as well. You can also go to 146.415.net, 146.415.net. Nice little basic website about Simplex. You can go to groups.io and do a search in MJSS for Mount Juliet Simplex Society. And you can sign up for the emails if you like on our reminder system, and get the opportunity to just buy and sell equipment, as well as ask technical questions and get support. You can also, you can see our net schedule there, which is quite extensive. Or you can send me an email at k4pew@arrl.net. That normally meets at 8 p.m. every Wednesday and Saturday night. Tonight we're doing the nets on 146.415 FM. We're also on to 144.240 upper sideband. Moving on to 50.135 6 meters, and that's upper sideband, of course. And then onward and upward to 223.415 FM. We'll be taking check-ins. By the way, this net number 934. We'll be starting from the south, but we'll be taking check-ins from short timers, people short on time. Yeah. What else? Oh yeah, people short on time, and mobile and or first-time check-ins. But first, another announcement. We do have a breakfast next Saturday morning. Don't forget that. Also, there's a net Sunday nights at 7:30 p.m., which is the 10-meter net done by Michael KM4YRF. That's again 28.415. It's at 7:30 p.m. It's the only net we have that starts. No, it's not the only net. It's one of the two nets that starts at 7:40. We also do the 3 nets on Saturday night that start at 7, like tonight. 7 for the DMR net, 7:15 for the D-Star net, and 7:30 for the C4 FM net. But you can see all of those schedules up on the, among others, some other reminders on the groups.io site. Is there any other announcements? All righty, nothing else. Hold on one second. Okay, just want to make sure a couple of things there. All righty, no more announcements. Then we'll move over to taking check-ins. Looking for check-ins for people short on time, or mobile, or first-time check-in. Oh, I think this is Daniel again, isn't it? How you doing there, Daniel?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How am I coming across on analog? I'm still on the same HT 5 watt.
Yeah, you're doing great. You've got about an S signal to me from Hermitage, and really kind of loud. It's a little. There's a few crackles in there, but I'm not sure why it would be that way. You've got a good signal, though.
Hey, that's good to hear. I'm the one that you couldn't hear too well last week. You thought I was maybe Kilo Juliet or something. That was trying to get in on the HT antenna, and now I'm on the base antenna.
Ah, okay, very good, very good. Obviously you put up a new one since then, huh?
Yeah, showed up yesterday.
Awesome. I'm not sure where you live, but where were you able to put the antenna?
Well, right now it's just mounted on a tripod base that I have, but I think I'm going to put it up on the gable of my roof. I'm over in Lakewood.
Oh, very good. Well, you're doing a good job tonight, and the higher you get it, the better it'll be.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, very good. Good to hear from you, Daniel. Anything else for the net?
Nope, that's it. KK4HSU. Back to K4PW.
Yeah, very good. That was Daniel. He checked in earlier on the DMR net at 7 p.m. with a good signal as well, using the same antenna and HT. See, people can get into HT into the net. If anybody DMR users that have DMR handhelds, give it a try. We'd love to hear from you. We had 6 check-ins tonight on the DMR net, which is kind of about normal for us. Sometimes a little less. Rarely, I don't think we've ever had 7, but we might have. But anyway, who else is short on time or mobile or first-time ticket? Okay, hold on one second. There was a double in there, but I did hear the number 1 station, but I didn't catch on.
November 1, Mike Delta Juliet.
Hey, haven't heard from you in a long time, Michael.
Yeah, hadn't been on the radio much. Just catching back up with things. Got a couple of new radios, and just checking in with portable and learning to work with the county with the new ham radio group starting this week.
Oh, the Wilson County group, great.
QSL.
Fantastic. Which radio are you using now, portable? Because you're a little weak to me. You're normally so much stronger, both mobile and at your QTA.
I'm on a little south thing, 7 water with the extended antenna, and I've got another little HP I was trying out, and I don't think it's set up right.
Well, no, I can hear you just fine. And you are at home, though, on the bull fan?
Good, though.
No, you're doing great.
Let me switch to the other one, see if you can copy on this.
All right, I'll stand by for a second here. That one's horrible. I hear a lot of noise and signal strength of about S2.
As compared to this one, what is?
Oh, yeah, this one's great. This one is that was it about S. I have to look at it again, but I think it was S5 or 6. So hit me again, please. Yeah, consistently it would bounce around between S3 and S1, but it was mostly noise. I could just barely, and I mean barely, hear a voice in it.
Yeah, I need to put the antenna on this one, on that one, and try it later another day. Not much to share here other than I'm excited to learn to work with the county with the ham radio, and I've got a few radios programmed in that we have access to, so it's going to be fun. And since I've had fun playing with WinLink in the past, I found out they've got some WinLink radios that need help with.
Oh, great. Yeah, I know they've really made a big deal of over the last few years over there at Wilson, so they're doing a great job. And Wilson County is growing like a weed, as you know.
Yep, that's all I've got. And back to net, November 1, Mike Delta Juliet. Thanks for letting me pick in.
Very good. That's Michael, November 1, Mike Delta Juliet. He's here in Mount Juliet. Haven't heard from him in a little while. He used to always worked a lot of nights, so he was almost never on the air. Anyway, who else is short on time, mobile, or first time checking?
K4 BWA.
Hello, Ricky.
Well, hey, Paul, it's good to hear you all tonight. I'm just going to do a quickie. That's okay.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. What's up?
Well, I've just got to get in there. I've spent some time with my wife, and I think that chocolate ice cream's calling my name, and she wants to put on a movie, so we may try to watch a movie together. And yeah, just that. And wanted to give you a check-in and let you know that I pretty much decided I'm just going to keep it on 147555, the net, and just go ahead and work it that way. I figured I just figured it ain't hurting anything as long as I don't use that amp.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think you're right. It shouldn't be. Again, I'm a little disappointed that I've heard at least 3 failures of those kinds of antennas, and it's upsetting to me. But we'll have to live with it. I mean, we get a lot of use out of them. Maybe that's part of the problem.
Well, the one I had, it held up for a while. I mean, I tell you, it didn't just burn up real quick. It was one of those things where running that 165 watts through there, and doing hour-long nets, that I think it just put a toll on it.
Well, you may be right. You may be right. Well, the true test then will be on going back to 50 watts or so, and seeing how you do for the next year or so, and then we'll get a good report, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I'm not going to give up on the antennas. They're good antennas. So I mean, it's interesting to see how it will work if I just keep it within 50 and 80. I have two radios. One does the 80, the other does 50, and I may mix them up a little, but we'll see. This is K4 BWA back to the net.
Very good. That's Ricky up in Portland, Kilo 4 Bravo Whiskey Alpha, and he runs the Thursday night net, which some of you may have checked in already. Thursday night at 7 o'clock on 147.555. Don't forget to do. You get a reminder. I believe I sent a reminder out there for that one on the reminder system as well. Anyway, anybody else mobile, short on time, or first time taking? Very good. We're going to the south then. Please come now from the south.
Sierra Yankee Victor.
Hey, I heard Larry, and I got it was a nice double in there. We've got Larry and we've got Tony, KF4, KF2. How you doing, Tony?
Got parts on back order, but I'm good otherwise.
Oh man, I mean, nice article on back orders today. It was the Panama Canal is running low on water due to the low drought in the peninsula there, or the isthmus, I guess you call it. And so they have to actually send less things on the ships in order to go through the canal, and they charge higher rates. So probably that's the reason for your back order.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Very good. Anything for the net?
Nope, I'm good. KF4, KF2.
Very good, Larry. How you doing?
Doing all right. Paul, man, we'll let you get on with it. KE4, SYB.
Yeah, very good. That's Larry. He does the D-Star net at 7:15 on Saturday nights prior to this net. Kilo Echo 4 Sierra Yankee Victor. He had a really good net tonight with at least the audio and the signal strength was great on D-Star. It isn't always that great, but tonight it was really good. Who else is south? Boy, you're getting pretty fuzzy tonight. What happened to your signal?
Sorry about me?
Yes, I'm sorry, Carl. I should have said your name.
Oh, okay. N80NUT. What antenna was y'all talking about?
Well, I had trouble with the X700 as well as on a similar design. Ricky had a problem with an X510, and somebody else also had trouble with an one of those antennas. Just the capacitors going out on them, and it's a little disturbing that you spend a lot of money for an antenna and that doesn't last a long time.
Okay, that's what I was scared of. Appreciate it. Let's get on with it. N80NUT.
Very good. That's Carl in Franklin, November 8, November Uniform Tango. That sounds better now. A little signal was stronger the second time you came around there. But who else is south? I appreciate the check-in there, though, Carl. Who else is south? Or east?
KK5S.
Hello, Mr. Carey.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I don't know. I have to wait for my wife to get home. She's the one that tells me how I'm doing.
Well, my other half has gone to Texas to check on her mother this weekend, so I'm playing bachelor.
Actually, it's funny how I love my wife and I love being around her, but when there's a break, it's kind of fun. I mean, not fun isn't the right word. It's just a nice break where you just can tend to yourself.
Oh yeah, because I got to go play with the sheep today and do stuff to it that she fusses about me doing.
Yeah. No, I miss her when she's gone. Really, I don't want her to be gone ever. But when she does have to go somewhere, it's kind of it's like that one guy said. He goes, "I don't care where my wife goes, as long as I don't have to go with her."
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you though. You made a comment a minute ago about the Panama Canal not having enough water in it.
Yeah.
Well, if we're experiencing global warming and all the polar ice caps are melting, where's the water in the Panama Canal?
I don't know. Well, you got to remember the water in the Panama Canal comes from Lake Gatun, Gatun, and they've had apparently a drought over the last, I forget how long he said, 10 years maybe, and it's lowered by about 10% since then. And of course, they can't pump any. It's all fresh water in the lake. It goes through and every time the ships go through the canal, fresh water is being dumped out into the Atlantic or the Pacific.
Oh.
So it's just kind of interesting. I was through the Panama Canal a couple of times when I was in the military and the Navy, and fascinating thing, but it uses a lot of fresh water. And so now it gets more complicated than that, in the sense that they're having to lighten the loads. So they're actually, some of the ships that have containers are offloading the containers on the one end of the canal and then taking them by train to the other end of the canal and then picking up the rest of them put them back on at the other side of the canal. And they're actually where there are people who aren't on a rigid schedule that go through the canal. And they mentioned that some of them were natural gas, liquefied gas containers and something else. I forget this. They actually get on a waiting list, but if they want to get to the top of the list, they'll pay a premium to pay off somebody else who's scheduled to go in there. It's like a lottery system.
Huh. I mean, I guess truthfully, I just assumed, and we know what that means, that was funded by the what we'll call it funded, the waters from the Atlantic and the Pacific. So I never realized that was fresh water in the Panama Canal.
Yep, 100% fresh. Every bit of it. Every time a ship goes in the canal, and they raise them up on the one end or the other, and every time they raise them up, they're being raised up by fresh water, and then every time on both ends, they're raised up, and all that water ends up going out at the other end.
Interesting. I learned something tonight.
Well, the one time we went through the canal, this is light years ago, we stopped in the middle of the lake and dropped anchor, and we went swimming in it's a big lake too. It'll be like the size of Percy Priest, it's a big lake, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I got a buddy of mine years back that he talked about the same things. I forget which destroyer he was on, but he was in the Navy, and they just all of a sudden stop in the middle of the ocean and dive off. Everybody dive off the ship.
Yeah, see if you can miss landing on a shark.
I don't mind being out on the water like that, but I think for me that idea of jumping from that high up into the water, I've heard too many stories about the water from that high up being like a piece of concrete, and that'd be my luck.
I can tell you for certain that it lands pretty hard from a high elevation.
Yeah, my luck would be it'd be concrete.
Oh boy. Anyway, no, it's the Panama Canal is quite the operation, because they each of through the lock system on either end, those ships are pulled through the locks with those little, they almost look like trains. They look like giant cabooses, but they're electrically powered cranes that pull them through, and they're on railroad tracks on the sides of the canal. And it's quite a control. I mean, it's really quite a thing watching those ships go through the canal. And then all the ships make their way through the lake, and then of course they go out the other end. It's a whole neat operation. And I forget how many said of billions and billions of dollars worth of stuff goes through that canal every year. And might be trillions of dollars worth of stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's probably no telling how much dollar value as it goes through there, but it just and like you say, I've seen plenty of lock systems. I've been through the locks on the river out here and everything, but it just kind of makes you think again about it. Like you say, when you start talking about the water reductions and that kind of stuff. But well, I'll let you get back to it, and thank you for doing the net, and I'll be out of the way here and let you get back to it. JK5S.
Yeah, what I was thinking of as I was watching a little video is that I wanted to sell them a pump so they could pump salt water into those locks instead of fresh water.
Well, to me, that would make sense.
I'm just get some. There'd be some pretty big pumps, of course, but they've, because I think all of the water that goes into the canals is all gravity fed from the lake, which is kind of interesting in and of itself. Anyway, I'm not even positive about that, but that was Gary. He's over in Baird's Mill, Kilo 5 Sierra. Who else is south?
How about East, KI4SIB, KI4SOR? Good evening, y'all.
Okay, I can only talk to you if you put down a down payment on showing up at breakfast next Saturday.
Do what?
Well, you got to have a guarantee for showing up for the breakfast tomorrow, next Saturday.
I will be there with bells on.
Okay, not too loud though. Everything going okay?
Everything is under control. I'm planning to retire. Things seem to have been it's working out pretty good for me, actually.
Why, did you quit working?
Oh, yeah. I gave that up about, a month or so ago.
Oh, very good. I hope that's very good. Yeah, it must be nice to have the days off all week.
Oh, yeah. It is. Actually, it wasn't a bad job. It was the easiest job I ever had in my life, but it just kind of got in the way at times. There were 3 days that I couldn't do anything, but of course, before that I could. But sometimes the 3 I wanted, I couldn't get. So, but yeah, I'm on the other side of it now, and I'm happy about that. They had it, but I'm just doing what I need to do when I need to do it, and trying to take care of business for my wife, myself, and the rest of us. I'm not going to get elaborate on it, but I'm working on some things. I'll put it that way.
Oh, very good. Well, you're going to have to keep busy. But that's one of the things you're going to have to do.
Oh, I'm keeping busy. That's not an issue, but it gets interesting at times. I'll put it that way. Talk to you after a while. Thank you for what you do, and take care of yourself. I'll let everybody what I can. Let me just read everybody. KI4SIB out the way. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, very good. It was Richard, KI4SIB, and his bride, KI4SOR, Stephanie, just downtown, west of downtown Lebanon. Who else is east?
Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa, Michael in Lebanon.
Hello, Michael. Anything good for the net tonight?
Oh, not a whole lot. I was going to say, you were talking about the Panama Canal. I just finished a book last month called The Path Between Two Seas. They ran the whole history of the Panama Canal from when the French were building it all the way through when America completed it.
Yeah, I noticed in that article, I didn't realize when it opened. I didn't remember. But I knew it was built through the end of the 19th century up through, and it wasn't open until 1914, I believe.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I like I said, the book I read on it was it started actually with Grant. Actually, Lincoln and Grant were two of the first presidents who were really interested in putting a canal through there.
Wow, I don't think I knew that. Well, Napoleon had, going back a little further, Napoleon theorized building a tunnel under, from France to England.
Yeah, and actually he was interested in also doing that canal too. Napoleon was, but he didn't, I guess didn't follow through on it. Like I said, the same guy that started the Panama Canal was the guy who built the Suez Canal.
Oh, I didn't realize it was the same people.
Well, that was the French, and they thought it would be the similar experience as building the Suez Canal, but it was not even close to the same experience, and that's why they ended up giving it up. They had a big controversy, a lot of lawsuits, because they sold a lot of stock on the fly about it and couldn't complete it.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, they found out there's a lot more mosquitoes in Panama than there is in the Suez.
Many more, and like I say, they don't even have an estimate of how many people died just from the French side, and then later on the American side. But they estimate way over 5,000 just when the French had it, and then way over 2,000 when the Americans took it over.
Wow, boy, that's a lot of people croaking on one job site.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but they, like I say, they didn't take the malaria and the other diseases down there serious enough, and they just let people die. Some of them were dying at 50 people a day.
Boy, oh boy. Well, in today's world, the job site would have been shut down after the first couple of months under those conditions.
Oh, most definitely. And a lot of the people that worked on it were immigrants from like Haiti and the Caribbean area, and so they really didn't get to notice that a lot of people thought they should.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that it was that bad. I knew there was a lot. I just know it was that many. But anyways, but the project was indeed worthwhile. In fact, it mentioned in the book they're considering building another canal through, I forget where it is, further north on the isthmus there.
Yeah, Nicaragua was the original place that they really were
trying to get down, getting through that area. That's where, because it was close to the United States, and that's what they really wanted was the Nicaragua, but they couldn't get it put together.
Well, Nicaragua was kind of I'm not sure they could pull it off being a semi-communist country.
Well, yeah, but not back in the late 1800s, though. It was a totally different environment down there then. And like I said, that was actually, I think, where Grant was really looking. He sent several survey teams down there to survey the Nicaragua side of it.
Oh, wow. You bring up that point. Can you imagine being our surveyor's jobs are pretty difficult from what I've seen and experienced myself. But can you imagine? I want to know who surveyed the Everglades.
Oh, that's going to be one tough job. No, I wouldn't want anything to do with that. Again, you got every insect in the world down after you.
Well, I the same thing. I just can't imagine a team surveying the entire Panama Canal area where they were going from from the Atlantic to the Pacific. It must have been hell for them.
Oh, most definitely. I know it was several teams did it. Did the surveys, and then some people just took what little information they had from them and made the decision about the Panama Canal.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a story. And it's been in continuous use, and they even built new locks down there, well, a few years ago now. But Panama makes a lot of money off that canal, and so does Egypt makes a ton of money off the Egyptian one, in Suez.
Oh yeah, we did for a long time. I mean, we got a lot of that money for close to 100 years.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I'm kind of glad because we benefit from it just due to trade, and everybody else does too. So we're the good guys.
Oh yeah, and originally that was actually kind of a military thing because we could take our West Coast sailors and run through the canal and have them on the other side of the world in a much shorter time than going around the Horn.
Yeah, but I think all warships can make the passes through the canal. It's not like it's a political thing.
Oh yeah, I mean that was part of the treaty that they signed, is allowing other ships to go through, because that was back when Germany was doing some fighting, in their different wars, and they were actually trying to keep them in check.
Yeah, well, what's interesting to me was that you probably knew this, but even now the Panama Canal, the warships take a preference. They go to the front of the line when they show up.
Oh yeah, and that's actually been part of the treaty that was part of the original treaties that were signed for that.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat thing. You can't have. I just imagine a warship sitting out there for unscheduled trip through, waiting 3 or 4 or 5 days to go through the canal. That'd be horrible.
Oh, very true. I like to say that was the whole thing, was to be able to, through military force through the canal into the other side of the Atlantic.
Yeah, it really is an interesting story, and it's I don't know if there's anything equals that. I'm trying to think what would equal that, but I can't think of a darn thing that would equal the size of the enormity of that project going across the land.
Well, like I say, that was why the Suez people moved over to the Panama Canal, and I guess the only other thing would maybe rival that is maybe the Transcontinental Railroad that we built, and maybe the Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh yeah, well, there's a few things, right, and the tunnels that went underneath the Hudson.
Oh, that's true too. I didn't think about that. So we've done some pretty interesting things through the centuries.
Yeah, my wife had never been on it. I don't know if you ever been on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel.
Oh, I just saw a friend of mine on Facebook that just went across that, and he swore he would never do it again.
Yeah, it seems funny. You're going across the highway, and then all of a sudden the highway goes down into the tunnel in the middle of the bay and comes up on the other side.
There's no place to go.
It cracks me up every time I see a picture of that bridge. Anyway, anything else for the net, Michael?
No, I've been here long enough. We got on this history stuff, and we probably bored some people silly there. So you better start waking them up again. I'll let you go. WA5 RIP to return back to the net.
Yeah, very good. That was Michael, Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa in Lebanon. Who else is east?
Okay, I'm Forest Tree.
Very good, Stan. Have you worked Panama recently?
No, I was just thinking about that fellow we had named Jimmy Carter that transferred the Panama Canal back to Panama.
Yeah, we blame Carter, but if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, Congress had to approve it, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so, but Carter wasn't my favorite president.
No, No, it wasn't a lot of people's favorite. He seemed like a nice guy, but nice guys finish last, don't they?
Yeah, seems like Paul, but I won't hold you up. Back in that KM4HUE.
Very good. That's Stan. Kilo Mike 4, Hotel Quebec Echo. He's there in Lebanon. Who else is east?
KM4, wow.
Yeah, you got something going on in the background there. TV, radio.
Yeah, it was the TV.
Anything good on?
So I was just watching a high-speed chase.
Wasn't that one with the white Dodge, was it?
Well, this guy started off in a black Honda, and he ditched that car, broke into another car, got in. They've been chasing him for over an hour and 40 minutes so far. He's in the third vehicle, and he's evading everybody.
Wow. Where is that?
It's in California.
Oh, of course. It's either Florida or California. No, there was one I saw. My son sent me a link to it. The guy was, I think it was in South Florida. He was in, I didn't even know the car existed. It's called a Dodge Scat. I think it's got like 400 horsepower. And he was doing like over 150 on the interstate, evading the police.
Yeah, this guy, he has been everywhere. He's been on the interstate. He's been on side streets, city streets, and everything. And he's done rammed. There's no telling how many cars. And you'll never get out of this.
Oh, that's a real pity, because the thing of it is, there was a guy who was doing on a high-speed chase just years ago in Tampa, and he blew through a red light. He hit a girl that was crossing the street on a motorcycle. It pretty much evaporated the woman.
Oh my gosh. And that may be what's going to happen to this guy. I mean, he just totally, it doesn't matter. Anything in his way, he's going to run it off. They had him trapped at one spot, and he rammed the police car that was behind him back enough to get out and get going again. So it's been hilarious.
Yeah, it's I forget what you call it. What do you call those? What they used to call those? I haven't seen one in so long. Where they used to just whoever lasted the longest inside of an arena with a junk car.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah, somebody will tell us. Anyway, anything else for that? I'm gonna have to go look at that later. That'd be fun to watch. Not fun if something bad happens though.
Oh yeah, I don't reckon I have anything further. Thank you for doing what you do, and I'll say back to net control. We only had 3 on C4 FM.
Okay, very good. Would have been 4 if I had my rig back. You can blame Yesu. Maybe I can have them check in. Anyway, that was Michael, KM4YRF. He's here in Mount Juliet with a big signal to me because he's only 2 miles away. Who else is east? Oh, very good. I got to tell you, I was a double in there, but I did hear you very clearly there, Michael. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's slowly getting this new radio program. And, I got to work with Chirp, had to buy a new cable. Surprisingly, it won't work on my old laptop, but it works well on the new laptop.
Now, usually it's the other way around. You know?
I know it. It's everything else I've been to do on the old laptop. So that's another one for the electronic wizards to figure out.
Well, I remember the bad old days when no matter what I did, it said, I don't have a driver for that. And I had to figure out how to put a driver in and make it work with a new device.
I hear you. But I tell you what, it's, there's not really any D-Star repeaters anywhere around here unless I set up my hotspot for it. But I don't even think I'll mess with it.
No, you've got it. They got that new D-Star repeater over there in Williamson County, don't they?
I pulled up a list of recent D-Star repeaters. The closest ones that showed was there used to be 2 in Nashville and 1 in Cookville, and I don't think I can hit the one in Cookville.
Huh. I could have sworn. Look on Williamson County, Aries. I'm pretty sure. I thought there was a D-Star repeater there, but I could be mistaken.
I'll take a look. But nothing else to report other than we needed this rain. Probably need some more. And I'll just turn it back over to you, Paul. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I just checked the weather, Mike, and it looked like for the next 7 or 8 or 9 days, it was just cloudy with a very, very low chance of rain. So this may be the last of it for another week. Anyway, there was Michael, K3 MPR here in Mount Juliet, just east of me, another 1.5 miles, 2 miles. Who else is east?
KG4CXE.
Hello, Chris. Anything good going on?
Oh, not too much, Paul. How are you tonight?
Good, real good. Well, good as long as I don't have aches and pains, but that's an everyday thing for somebody who's in their 70s.
Well, hey, it even happens if you've got arthritis when the rain's coming. Apparently, my girlfriend was complaining about it a little bit. So, yeah, I spent the day, unfortunately, kind of wet today. I was hoping it would be dry, but tomorrow's looking a little better.
Yeah, I'll probably have to end up mowing the lawn, but no, it's nice. It's not. I can't believe I looked at the 10-day weather forecast and it said it was. I don't think it gets projected to be above about 83 for the next 10 days.
Yeah, it's starting to look like a little bit of fall weather.
Oh yeah, it's nice. It's a nice relief, especially after that week or 10 days we had were blistering.
Yeah, it was kind of overwhelmingly hot for a little bit, and then it is a nice change. Yeah, I went to work one day and there was a lot of leaves on the ground. I was like, wow, it's kind of happening already.
I know I've mentioned it on the air before, but I remember distinctly when we were in the Middle East when I was in the Navy, and you'd walk out of the ship, which was kind of air conditioned. It'd be like 75 degrees. You'd walk out and open up the hatch, and it'd be 125 outside. It was like an oven, just like it is here, except a little warmer.
Yeah, that sounds like a really bad time.
Well, I remember I don't know if I should have been surprised, but I remember looking over the side. We pulled into in Bahrain in the Persian Gulf, and the water temperature there is like 96 degrees in the Gulf, in that part of the Gulf. And I remember looking down into the water, and here was tropical fish, which I had never seen before anywhere but in a tropical fish tank.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, it's pretty though. It's really nice over there. It's nice if you like hot weather. And my son said that that's the reason there's so many problems in the Middle East. The sun has cooked all their brains.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Honestly, we went to the beach a few times when we were out there, and just being in Florida, it's a different sun down there. It was cooking quickly.
Oh yeah, my brother and his fair-haired family, you couldn't get any whiter than my brother and his family. And I met him like 2 days after they were down farther south in Florida, down towards Miami. And they showed up and they all looked like lobsters, red as a beet, some worse than others. So what the heck did you do? Well, we were at the beach and it was really breezy and it seemed kind of cool, but it was really sunny. And I go, okay, that's how it fools you, man. Because you can't, I don't care if it's sunny in Florida, you can't spend without protection or in the shade. You can't spend maybe 40 minutes in the sun, maybe, without getting burned.
Yeah, I was out there for 10. I could tell a difference. There were certain parts that started to feel like the sun was, exposed. It was just quicker than here. Closer to the equator, it makes a difference.
Oh, it does. It's dramatic. Yeah, in fact, I told him his one daughter, his oldest daughter, is red-haired and really fair, and she could barely walk. Her skin was so painful to her. And I told him, I said, man, you could be a reporter for child abuse. You know that.
Yeah, it's miserable. That's burns.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. Well, again, you have to be careful. And I can't say I haven't made that mistake. I lived in Florida for 37 years, and I lost track of time, and I was messing around with my relatives, my nephews and my son, and I was out there, and man, my back was so painfully burned. 2nd-degree burns, man.
Yeah, I've had some of my family. I don't know why we weren't instructed, or I wasn't instructed when I was younger to put on sunscreen. It just wasn't a thing, but I do understand it now and the need for it. So yeah, when we go out tomorrow, we're going to potentially go float down the Caney Fork, but definitely taking the sunscreen.
Sunscreen and a big floppy hat.
Yeah, something to cover up.
Really, it's not good. I mean, it sounds so redundant to say that, but it's not good to sit out in the sun. It's painfully evident if you've been out in the sun for an hour without sunscreen. You can even have sunscreen on, and it doesn't necessarily help you after a little while, because of sweat and other issues. It could be over an hour, and you're still going to cook.
Yep.
Anyway, anything else on that, Chris?
No, that's all I've got. 73.
Very good. That's Chris, Kilo Golf 4 Charlie X-Ray Echo, and he's in Rural Hill in south of me, about 5 miles. Who else is east or north?
KB9RKK.
Oh, Frank, how you been?
Well, I'm doing okay, Paul. Yeah, I've been back about a week now.
Were you in Europe? Is that where you were?
Yeah, I was in Germany, and it wasn't. Germany was fine. The trip was not good.
You mean the flight or just the trip in general?
The flight there was okay, except they lost my luggage. And on the way back, I had to take a train and 4 planes in 36 hours because of all the delays and missed flights and everything.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, they canceled one of the planes, and well, the funniest thing was on the way, the second flight. The first flight was a short hop to Zurich. It was 45 minutes late leaving the gate, and then we're sitting there, like, and they kept apologizing and saying there's a shortage, and then they're sitting there, and then they're like, the worker's hat got blown into the jet intake, so we're waiting for maintenance to go pull it out.
Yeah, well, poo-poo does happen, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't running. I think the wind just blew it in there by accident. But normally I thought you're not supposed to wear anything like that around there, but whatever.
Yeah, you'd think they had to be required to wear a strap on their helmet.
Yeah, so then we had to wait for that, and then got to New York. They made up the time, even though it was over an hour late. But they made up the time, but the flight got canceled, and then I had to get another flight. So instead of being direct from New York to Nashville, I had to take it through Charlotte. Well, that flight ended up being delayed 2 hours because of all the hurricane stuff. So, but the flight from Charlotte to Nashville was only delayed 1 hour. So I had to wait. I had to spend a wonderful 10 hours overnight in the gate of the small airport.
Oh, that's kind of boring.
Very, very boring. But good news is, made it back, and it wasn't so bad out there. At least it was cool. I got a break from that heat you guys were talking about. That it was terrible when I left here. I was like, how many days is it going to be near 100? And then I get over there, and I'm like, whoa, this is in the 50s and 60s. This is good. And then the second week it started getting into like just touching 80, and they were complaining, oh, this is hot. I'm like, compared to where I came from, this is nothing.
Yeah, it's a nice reprieve for you. And yeah, I know when you're in a it's funny when you get used to the heat of the South, for instance, and you go up to places like Pennsylvania or New York. That sure is hot. You go, you're kidding me? It's only 88.
Yeah. But I had, the story you were talking about your brother. I mean, I did that as a kid, but it wasn't Florida, it was Arizona, and the dry heat tricked me. And boy, that's the most burnt I ever got. And that taught me there, like, do not go by how it feels.
No, it's really dangerous. It really is, because I had a couple of occasions when I was in Florida where I got way, way too much sun, and it actually made me feel sick. And in fact, I mentioned it before, but when I was, we were in Puerto Rico, where I was out on deck for a long, I don't remember how many hours it was, but I actually still have scars on my arms from the sun poisoning.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I did have an occurrence over here by accident because I wasn't wearing a hat, and we were putting together a house for one of my coworkers down in Rockville, and all I remember is working, and the next thing you know, I wake up in the back of a minivan covered in ice. And there was them, they poured the cooler on me, and I was like, what happened? They said, you were talking gibberish, you weren't answering questions, you didn't know where you were at, you got, basically you were sunstroke. And I said, oh, wow. You always read about it, talked about it in the military, but never happened to me until I get here. But, yeah, it's no joke, and you got to be careful. I'm lucky I don't really burn much. I tan more. I do burn every once in a while, but not like, my wife who's, fair-skinned, and she just thinks about going outside, and she turns red. But
I hear you, and I'm thinking about my mom in Florida. She won't go outside without wearing the big floppy hat, so and sunglasses, because she's the same way, real light skinned, and she was a redhead, so she's as you know how most of them are really light colored, and yeah, so she has that problem with the sun. She can't handle it at all. So, but it made me think about that. I was like, oh yeah, that's why she wears the big hat.
Yeah, you don't realize how powerful the sun really is. Just, like you said, it fools you. I never, when that Middle East, the first Middle East tour I was up on deck a lot because I worked for the deck force, and I never took, and we wore T-shirts over there. There was no, we didn't have regular shirts. We was just regular white T-shirt. I never took my T-shirt off once when we were outside because you were afraid to. But number one, but number two is the uniform required. We went shirtless sometimes, but only when nobody was looking. But I didn't though. And even in spite of the T-shirt, my tan on my back looked better than most people tan, here in the States.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Through the shirt, no. Yeah, no, I didn't. I never had to go there. But I can only imagine. I mean, the few times I think the hottest I ever felt dry heat was Laredo when I went there. Oh, it was back in the '90s, and it was down during the summer. It was really hot. It was way over 100, but it was deceiving because of the dry heat. It doesn't feel as hot as it really is. Like the humidity makes you feel hot, So, but I went down there as an adult. When I was 12 years old and I did that in Arizona, and that hurt. I never wanted to get burned like that again, so I don't fall for it no more.
Well, a lot of times in Florida, it doesn't fool you because when you sit in your air conditioned house, and I would get my shirt and tie on after getting up, taking a shower and shaving, getting your shirt on, and it'll be only 84 degrees outside, but the 84 with a very high humidity, it's just like walking into a sauna. It's oppressive.
That's how Okinawa was. And it's about how Florida feels like, because before that I never really was in Florida. I, grew up in Chicago, did most of my time in Southern California in the military, and then I rotated overseas to Okinawa, and I remember going out. I was like, wow, man, it's like it's like wet outside, like the air feels wet, and that's how Florida kind of feels, and so does it. So a little bit over here too, on some days.
Yeah, it is. It's really uncomfortable. It's not that it's so hot because in Tampa, I was there for 36 years. The temperature never got over 100 ever. I still don't think it's gotten over 100. Whereas here, about the first June I was here in 2012, it got to 105, and Tampa never saw 105 ever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was a summer where I remember looking outside. There is, when I first moved, I moved in June 30th is when I moved here. And I remember my wife going, man, there's no kids out. I'm like, you see how hot it is? All we heard is air conditioners humming.
Yeah, well, thank God for air conditioning. Anyway, I tell you what, the people who lived in Tennessee in the South prior to air conditioning, they were real men and real women.
Yeah, they were tougher than I was. No, I am anyway. Yeah, well, I don't got nothing else. Just glad to be back. Thanks for doing that, and I'll turn it back over to you, KB9RKK.
Very good. Glad you got back safe in spite of all the problems. That was Frank at Kilo Bravo 9, Romeo Kilo Kilo. Anybody else east or north?
WB0NLO.
You haven't done any traveling outside, have you, in the sun?
Oh yeah, in the past, not lately. But I remember when you used to have one good peel every year.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. Although when I lived in Florida, people used to get up. They used to ask me when I had visitors from my family or whatever from the north, where I went up north. And they go, "You don't really have a tan." I go, "I stay out of the sun."
Yeah. Yeah. I spent most of the last 30 years on the lake, and I'm sure I'm paying for it right now. Just haven't surfaced yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's hope it never surfaces anything, but I don't know, because I have some problems with my skin too, but nothing ever has become of it. You mean out there in the lake with the sailing, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, that and traveling and sailing, and I used to just live for the summers, and I've had a few little thingies burned off here and there, but so far so good, no big deal. But anyway, I think as kids, that's what we used to do. We always did that.
Yeah. We didn't have the same problem. We had to up there on the Canadian border. We had to work hard to get a tan.
Well, yeah, you only had 2 weeks of summer, didn't you?
Yeah, kind of. I know I went up there to visit in the late 70s, and I showed up. It was like 70 in the mid 70s. I'll just say it was 75 or so. It was just a nice day, nice summer day, the end of June. It was like 27th of June, and then a cold front moved in. The next day it was 45.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was maybe 2007 or 8. We left here and drove up to Niagara Falls, and we ended up being gone almost 3 weeks, but maybe a week there, and then went over to Albany and spent some time with Ginger's family and son and all that. But we left here. It was like 102 or 3, and it was hot. And we get up there, and high was 75 maybe.
Yeah. No, I still have to say that it was even funny, even in the spring, in the summer where I grew up. There it was on the same latitude as Albany, but it's over there on the west end of the state. It was just summer's days were in the morning. They were cool. It was a normal day to wake up it was in 60, 65 degrees, 60, and it was cool. And sometimes, in fact, that's why we rarely went outside barefoot, because it was cool.
Yep. Oh, well, there are advantages to everywhere. But at least it was kind of nice today. It was cloudy and comfortable, and not all that much rain, so it was good. Anyway, I'll let you carry on. WB0 NOO.
Yeah, very good. That was Mark. He's in Northwest Wilson County. Whiskey Bravo 0 November Oscar Oscar. Anybody else north or west? Please come down.
KO4 OTV.
Had to wait a long time for that, didn't you there, Joel?
Yeah, I'm just sitting here watching football anyway. It's no big deal. But I tell you, man, what a trip the guy had there, man. I was listening to a little of that, man. It sounded awful.
Oh, that guy running his car and evading the police.
Oh, no. No, the European trip there.
Oh, well, yeah, traveling. They always advertise it, when you see advertise, it's always fun and exciting to travel. It's not. It's just not exciting.
No, I agree. I've traveled most of my career, and I haven't in probably a decade, and it's been great. But listening to what he said about that makes me not want to travel ever again.
Yeah, it just does. It stinks. I mean, unless you can afford first class in an airplane, it's not a fun trip for me. It just isn't. I mean, being a relatively big guy, it's, I got 2 inches of room in any direction before I bump something,
Oh yeah, and not only that, I mean, you don't know how you're gonna, how it's gonna play out either. Look at all the delays he dealt with, and I saw a thing this morning about air traffic controllers and how the shortage is so bad that it'll be years before it's back to normal, and that's why they're having so many close calls and all this. And I thought, man, I really don't think I want to fly anytime soon. And I went through all this trouble in 2020 before the pandemic hit, and I guess February to get the stupid star on my license just so I could get on a plane. And then the pandemic hit, and it was like, well, I guess I won't be flying for a while. So it was kind of a catch-22 in a sense.
Yeah, Mike was an air traffic controller at K3 MPR, so he could give you an insight into that. But yeah, it takes a lot of experience to be an air traffic controller, obviously. But Yeah, with the increase in air travel, I bet you a lot of people retired during the pandemic or something. Maybe that's the reason the shortage.
Well, it was the reason for the shortage. They just don't hire enough. They quit. Another problem is that it takes anywhere from 1 to 5 years to fully certify somebody.
I don't know how long it takes or anything. It didn't specify or how hard the test or anything were, but I thought they made decent money and stuff. And there was one point in time where I thought about doing it, but I think I was going to try to get into aviation at one point, but because I love it. But at the same time, I don't know if I want to go through it at this point in my life. But yeah, it was a few factors in there. But yeah, you're right. A lot of it was due to COVID.
Well, Michael just jumped in there accidentally when you guys both started talking at the same time, and he's closer to me. But he was just saying one of the reasons is A, they don't hire enough. That was one of the principal problems. And B, there's about a 5-year certification program to get a guy certified to be, work by himself.
Oh my God! I'd have never thought it was that long. That's a long time.
Well, I don't think it would work out well just throwing somebody in there. But go ahead. That would be awful. No, you can imagine how critical that job really is. And people don't realize it until there's mistakes,
Oh no! I'm with you 100% on that. Yeah, you definitely don't want to just throw somebody on that job at all. You want to make sure they're alert and know what's going on. I even listen to the AM bands that they talk on, and I'm going to tell you, I don't even know how the heck you can keep up with all that nonsense that goes on in there. It's very impressive how they do that, anyhow. But 5 years, that's a long time. Most apprenticeship programs, I think, were 3 to 4.
Yeah, some of them are 4. I don't know about the 3-year ones. And there's some that are actually 5 years. I don't know who's. Depends. I think it would depend which local they're working out of or which state they're working. I'm not sure. But anyway, 5 years. Yeah, again, it's one of those things I know from my own experience in the technical trades that to have a good field technician for what we did for a living, you could come out of a trade school and know all the basics and be pretty good. You could ace the course. You could ace all the courses, and still you didn't know crap for 4 or 5 or 6 years.
Well, we get a lot of these guys that, get in our field with the, IT and all these guys that think they know all this stuff because they have a piece of paper, and they get in the field and realize they don't use 80% of that crap they learned in school. I'll take a guy with all the experience that I can get versus a guy with a piece of paper any day.
Oh, there's no question about it. It really is true that experience is, well, they say, experience is the best teacher, but it's the most expensive.
Oh, it can be the most stressful as well.
No, it really is. It's one thing to learn theory in the school. It's a whole other thing to go out there and go, and all of a sudden you're stuck in a building that's or a thing, a system or a building that's 20 or 30 years old, and there's stuff in there you don't even know what you're looking at.
Oh no, that's absolutely right. It's just like right now we got this Moo TV in there at the Garth Brooks bar downtown, and they're running all this shielded Cat 6A through all this conduit. They ran it from every location all the way back to the closet. All the IDFs have all pipes all the way to each location. It's pretty amazing. I've never seen a job like this. Well, in ORs, it's kind of like that in hospitals. They only do that out to the tray, and then you got to pull it to the closet from there. But they do these theories. All these guys come in and they're like, well, in theory, these right here will hold 10 Cat 6 in here. I'm like, yeah, in theory, it sure will. In a perfect world, if it's a straight shot, man, it'll work like a champ. But you got to think, we've got 1490s, 3-4 pull boxes we got to go through, and it's 350 feet away. Well, with your loops and everything, you only get it, you'll cut it all out. It'd be about 320 on some of your longest pulls, but you try to explain that to them, and they look at you like you got 3 heads.
Yeah, I'm with you. But why would they run shielded cable through conduit in the first place?
We said the exact same thing, and I guess the shielded Cat 6 they use. The shield doesn't really mean anything. It's also got a little ground wire on it. The easiest way to describe it, they call it a drain wire, and it goes inside the jack when you terminate it to keep everything bonded. I guess is the only reason why. But Moo TV apparently is like this real high-end production company in Nashville, and
I guess that's what it called for on their print. So I thought it was the silliest. I mean, everybody in there's kind of been running this down their throats the whole time I'm talking to these people because none of it makes any sense to us.
Yeah, we had when I was working electrical work, and me and my partner, he was a much older than I was, much more experienced, but we were both journeymen. We came upon, we were pulling a wire in this mall, and it was just a half or 3/4 inch conduit. But anyway, he looked at the plans. He goes, "Now we got to pull from here at this point to that point." It was one of those, it was probably, I don't know how long it was, a couple 100 feet. But it had, we even walked through it, and it had like 4 90s in it, which you would never do without a junction box. And I said, "Well, let's get a junction box installed." He goes, "No, if the designer said pull it this way, we're pulling it this way." Well, we broke a snake. Broke one of those fish lines. We just snapped it in.
Oh yeah. We use duck riders when they get into situations like that because it's just easy. And after every 2 90s, you're supposed to have a full junction box. You got to have something. But they didn't. There was 2 locations in this one where it was the same situation. They had, I think it was 4 90s. Then they had a pull box, and the pull box was, golly, 120 feet from those 90s. Yeah, it was just and the electricians. I'm not taking anything from them, man. They've been fantastic, and they've been great, and all this. And this was a change order by Moo TV, and nobody got the word. Well, the whole bottom floor in this thing is all like this beautiful wood ceiling, and it's all done up just perfect. So you're not going to tear it back out to run new conduit. So now we've got to make this work. So as I'm pulling it into these locations, I'm almost pulling the drywall off the wall, just trying to get it into its location. I have a guy standing on my ladder, on my 6-foot ladder on the very bottom rung, and I'm about to third one up, and I'm trying to pull it into this location, and I'm lifting me, him, and the ladder off the ground. It was pretty comical.
I'll bet. Yeah, that stuff's it's a lot of work. I just remember I don't want to do that work, but I'm not going to do that work anymore unless a major depression comes. Who'd hire me at 75 years old?
Oh, well, I tell you right now, they'll hire just about anybody, man. You can't get anybody to work.
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'd like to think that's not true, but I keep hearing it is true. So I'm guessing that we've got a whole. My wife tells me the same thing about where she works. The young people come in and they just don't have a work ethic at all.
Oh no, they don't care, man, and they don't want to do anything, man. And if it wasn't for us, nothing would get done because we've got kids in there that are, in their early to mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s, and they're all in that same category, man. They look at you like they just don't know what's going on. But I mean, just pulling cable. So that's why I jump in there and do a lot of it because if we didn't, it would get done. And I don't even know anymore. I don't want to do this much longer anyway. I mean, I've been doing it for close to 23 years now, and it's just getting old. It's the whole dynamic of it's just gone to trash. It's just trash. Everything about it. Nashville's terrible. I hate working there anymore, and I'm downtown all the time, and it just seems like it's never going to end. But my last partner at SR Communications before we went to this, it's been a while back now, but he was 75 and could outwork any 18-year-old that came in there. And he was probably about your height. I think he was 6'3", 6'4", and he was just. Man, he'd run up and down a ladder. I've never seen anything like it. It was pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, that's great. Well, as far as that work ethic goes, I learned that the first job I had when I got out of the military was working for an electrical contractor. They were out of Texas, and I think the supervisors, the site managers, they only knew 2 words when they were talking to us. "Hurry up!"
Yeah, we got to get this done. Let's go. Come on. Can y'all work Saturday? I hear that one a lot.
Well, they really were truly. It was the best experience I ever had for work because the guys that they had that came out of Texas, and I wasn't from Texas, and the guys that came out of Texas, they were what you think of as people who did indeed hit the road running. I mean, they were, as soon as they were on that job site, man, it was go to town, pulling wire and put whatever we were doing. They were just go. And I learned I said, holy crap. And I learned that was the way it had to be done.
Well, I mean, that's the only way you're going to get it done. And if you've got a lot to do, you've got to really, we've got like, I don't know, probably close to 10 systems alone, and they all got different wire in every system. Every system does something different, so it's a lot to keep up with, too. You got a little iPad there, it's got, I don't know, 30 pages of crap in it. You've got to kind of figure out what goes where and click on it. That's the most complicating part of it to me. We used to just have a big giant print. But the place I'm working for right now, I don't know why in the world they don't do that. But I mean, you could do this all on like, I don't know, 5 or 6 pieces of paper, and it'd be a whole lot simpler and it'd be a lot more cost effective.
Oh, sounds complex. Listen, I better run along. Joel, anything else?
No, that's it for me, Paul. See you on 6. KO4 OTV, back to net control.
Very good. That was Joel, KO4 OTV, West Ashland City. Who else is West? Anybody else west?
KG4 ILV, Jack and Donaldson.
I normally don't have to call for you twice, Jack.
I was going to get a wake-up call.
Okay. Everything going all right for you?
Oh, yeah, doing great. Talk about being out in the sun, man. I advise buying a big floppy hat because I've had these places burn off on my scalp, and it really hurts.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I imagine at some of your job sites when you went out filming that you had no protection.
Well, most of the time I did, or I would take a big golf umbrella and tie it up somewhere. That was my, I had to look out for myself.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah, I just can't imagine out on locations how that would be.
Well, anyway, thanks for doing the net tonight, Paul. Appreciate it, and I'll let somebody else check in. KG4 ILV.
Yeah, very good. That's one of the hazards of the trade with people who are in the surveying business as well. Anyway, that was Kilo Golf 4, India Lima, Victor, Jack, and Donaldson. Who else is west? Nobody else west? Lollygaggers, lurkers, sandbaggers, please come now.
K4 VUW, Angeltown, Mount Vernon, Bethpage.
Hey, how you doing, Carlin?
Doing all right. Tried to check in at north, but you jump right straight to west. I thought, well, I guess I'll be a lollygagger tonight.
No, I was at north for a little bit. I didn't hear any answers.
Well, about the time I picked up the mic, you done jumped to west. I thought, well, I'll just be a lollygagger. What the heck?
Everything going all right for you?
Oh, yeah. Come a little shyer up there. We went this evening, I guess about 4:30 or something, went down to Captain D's Gallatin to eat. Come around stream back, started sprinkling. And the time we hit the top of the ridge here, it turned into a pretty good little shower. And I was surprised. I thought the rain was over with for the day. So I don't know. I guess maybe it's going to do that off and on tonight, some tomorrow, and then finally be gone. So I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, doing all right. Hope everybody else up there is doing all right. I guess I'll turn it back over to you there, and I hope you're doing okay. And that way you can see if there's anybody out there wanting a lollygag.
All right, very good. That was Carlin in Bethpage, Angeltown vicinity. Kilo Delta 4, Victor, Uniform Whiskey. Anybody else lollygagging, lurking, or sandbagging? I keep saying those. Every word I say now, the dogs look at me funny like they think I'm getting out. I'm going to rename the dog Sandbagger, Lurker, CQ, who else is west or anywhere. Well, very good. That would make 20 tonight for the check-ins. We're going to move over to 144-240. Anybody have any objection? Very good. The eyes, the nose have it. We'll catch you at 144-240, 144-240, upper side bank. Sorry for the delays. I don't have that programmed in my memory, and I had goofing around in the dark here trying to make the changes. That didn't work too well. It's K4 PEW, and we're looking for check-ins on 144-240. Yeah, you sound good, Tony. Hold on. KF4, KFQ. That was KF4, KFQ, Tony, and Smyrna. Who else is? Oh, we'll stay with the South then. Please come now. All right, over to the East.
KM4, YRF.
All righty. Do I sound off frequency to you, Michael?
Yeah, a little.
All right, very good. Well, you sounded off to me, so obviously we're off, both off in somewhere, La La Land. That's KM4 YRF, and here in Mount Juliet. Who else is East? KK5. Must be me off frequency because you sound off too, so it can't be everybody. That was Carrie in Baird's Mill, Kilo 50. Who else is East? East or North?
Kilo Bravo 9, Romeo Kilo.
All right, I got Frank in there. I heard there was somebody else too. Kilo Bravo 9, Romeo Kilo. That was Frank. Who was the other one?
WB0 NLO.
Very good. Whiskey Bravo 0, November Oscar. I'll have to look up how to change the settings on my 897D, so it makes that offset correct.
I got you a little low.
Yep. Again, Whiskey Bravo 0, November Oscar, Mark, and Northwest Wilson. Who else is North?
Get 4 VUW.
Very good. We got Kilo Delta 4, Victor Uniform Whiskey. That's Carlin and Bethpage, Angeltown. Who else is West? Or North or West?
KG4 ILV.
Very good. Kilo Gulf 4, dealing with Victor, Jack, and Donaldson. Anybody else, North or West? Or anywhere?
KM4
KM4 Hotel Quebec Echo. That's Stan in Lebanon. Who else is any place anywhere? I think we wiped it out there. That's 9 check-ins. The last chance. Please come now. Very good. We're going to move over to 50.135. 50.135. That's on 6 meters. I'll see you there momentarily. All right, we're in there now. This is K4 PEW Net Control looking for check-ins from the south. Please come in. Nobody south or west?
KO4 OTV.
Okay, very good. I was going backwards there, south or west. Okay, got Joel, KO4 OTV, and west of Ashland City. Who else? Let me do this. West, south or east? Please come in.
KM4 YRF.
Very good. Got Michael in there and Mount Juliet. Hold on, Jack. Who else is east? Anybody else east? Hearing nothing from the east. Hold on. I don't know what my radio doesn't like about that antenna, but it keeps going off on high SWR. But it's okay now. Who else is east? Please come now.
KK5S.
Kilo 5 Sierra. That's Carrie Baird's Mill. Who else is east?
KM4 HQE.
KM4 HQE. That's Stan in Lebanon. Hold on. You'd almost think I had a bad connection. It keeps jumping off of the track here. Now it's perfect. In a minute it won't be. Who else is east or north? East or north? Please come now. I'll say again, please.
Kilo Bravo 9 Radio Kilo.
All right, very good. You got Kilo Bravo 9 Romeo Kilo. That's Frank here in Northwest Wilson or Northwest Mount Juliet. Anybody else north? North or west?
KG4 ILV.
Yeah, very good, Jake. I was going backwards. Yeah, I got you in there, Jack. I don't know if you heard me. The thing went off kilter again.
Okay, thank you.
Very good, Jack and Donaldson. Kilo Golf 4, India Lima Victor. Anybody else north, south, east, or west?
Man, you get me in there, KO40 TV.
Ah, very good. Yes, I did. I heard you in there. I was going backwards, and I accidentally put called for west instead of east. So we're good. Very good. Got you in there, Joel. And I just Joel KO40 TV up in Fashion City. Who else? Any place, anywhere? Anybody, any place, anywhere? Please come in. All right, I think that wraps it up. We're going to go over to 223-415, and that was, hold on. We had 7 people on 6 meters. We had 9 people on 144-240, and we had 20 people on 2 meters. So appreciate everybody checking out, and we're going to close this portion of the net and also close out the YouTube video. Have a good night, everybody. K4P.